Episode 3, The Trial of Zeus, by Dr. Bak Nguyen and William Bak. The grand hall of the Council of Angels hummed with an electric anticipation. Celestial beings of all ranks gathered, their wings rustling softly as they waited for the unprecedented event to unfold. The trial of Zeus, the self-proclaimed king of the gods, was about to begin. At the forefront of the spectators stood the members of Team Omega and Team Beta, the unlikely heroes who had brought this moment to fruition. Lucifer, with his trademark smirk, leaned casually against a pillar, while Mikael stood ramrod straight, his eyes fixed on the central dais. Xaphan's fingers twitched nervously at his side, and Mikael, as always, looked around hopefully for any sign of refreshments. Team Beta, composed of Guriel, Hasdiel, Amriel, and Serviel, stood nearby, their expressions a mix of pride and apprehension. The tension between the two teams was palpable, a blend of rivalry and newfound respect. As the murmur of the crowd grew, Archangel Antom stepped forward, her presence immediately commanding silence. Her voice, deep and resonant, filled the hall. Antom.
Esteemed members of the Celestial Court, we gather here today for an unprecedented event. The trial of Zeus, ruler of Olympus, on charges of tyranny, abuse of power, and disruption of the divine order.
A collective gasp rippled through the audience. Lucifer couldn't help but chuckle, earning him a sharp elbow from Mikael.
Show some respect, Lucy. This is a solemn occasion.
Lucifer, grinning.
Oh, lighten up, Mickey. We're about to see the mighty Zeus brought low. Enjoy the moment.
Their bickering was cut short as the grand doors swung open. Two seraphim guards entered, escorting a figure that seemed a far cry from the mighty god they had faced on Mount Olympus. Zeus stumbled forward, his usual regal bearing replaced by confusion and vulnerability. The effects of Hasdiele's drug were evident in his unfocused gaze and unsteady gait. His once resplendent robes were disheveled, and his beard, usually neatly trimmed, was unkempt. As Zeus was brought before the council, Antom's voice rang out once more.
Zeus, you stand accused before this celestial court. How do you plead?
Zeus blinked rapidly, trying to focus on Antom. When he spoke, his voice was a far cry from the thunderous tones that had once shaken Mount Olympus.
This is outrageous. I am Zeus. You have no right to judge me.
A murmur rippled through the assembled angels. Team Omega exchanged glances, a mix of triumph and unease in their eyes. Xaphan, whispering.
Is it just me, or does something feel off about this?
Mikael, shrugging.
Maybe he's just a sore loser. Gods aren't used to being held accountable, you know.
As the trial progressed, witnesses were called forth. Angels and minor deities alike recounted tales of Zeus's misdeeds, painting a picture of a tyrant drunk on his own power. With each testimony, Zeus seemed to shrink further into himself, his face growing increasingly pale. Lucifer, however, couldn't shake a nagging feeling. He leaned closer to Mikael, his voice low.
Something's not right. This is too easy.
Mikael, grudgingly.
As much as I hate to admit it, I agree. Zeus isn't known for giving up without a fight.
Their suspicions were confirmed moments later when a blinding flash of light filled the room. As the radiance faded, a new figure stood before the council. Hera, Queen of Olympus, her eyes blazing with fury.
How dare you! How dare you drug my husband and drag him before your pathetic little court?
The room erupted into chaos. Angels rose from their seats, voices raised in shock and indignation. Amidst the confusion, Gabrielle stepped forward, her voice cutting through the din.
This trial is conducted with the authority of the heavenly realms. Your interference.
Hera, cutting her off.
Silence. I care not for your authority. Zeus may be a philandering fool, but he is my fool to deal with.
As arguments broke out across the chamber, Lucifer's eyes remained fixed on Zeus. The god's demeanor was changing, confusion melting away to be replaced by a sly smirk. In a flash, Zeus's bindings disintegrated, and he rose to his full height, power crackling around him. Zeus, laughing,
Oh, you foolish angels. Did you really think your little tricks could hold me? I am Zeus, master of deception.
with a thunderous clap, Zeus unleashed a shockwave of power that sent angels flying in all directions. Team Omega and Team Beta braced themselves, barely managing to stay on their feet. Mikael, shouting over the chaos.
We need to contain him. Team Omega, Team Beta, form up.
As the two teams moved to surround Zeus, Hera stepped back, a satisfied smile on her face.
Well, husband, I believe you owe me for this little rescue.
Zeus, grinning.
Indeed, my dear, perhaps I've underestimated you all these millennia.
What followed was a battle of epic proportions. Zeus, now fully awake and enraged, unleashed the full might of his godly powers against the combined forces of Team Omega and Team Beta. Lightning crackled through the air, winds howled, and the very foundations of the heavenly realm shook with the force of their clash. Lucifer and Mikael found themselves fighting side by side, their earlier bickering forgotten in the heat of battle. Lucifer dodging a bolt of lightning.
Any brilliant ideas, Mickey? Your direct approach doesn't seem to be working.
Mikael grunting as he deflected an attack.
Working on it. Xaphan, Mikael, flank him.
Across the room, Team Beta was holding their own, their teamwork a testament to their training. Guriel to her team.
Team Beta, create a barrier. We need to contain his power.
Hasdiel.
On it. Amriel, Serviel, with me.
The female angels joined hands, channeling their celestial energy to form a shimmering barrier around Zeus. For a moment, it seemed to hold, the god's attacks ricocheting off the ethereal shield. But Zeus was far from defeated. With a roar that shook the heavens, he redoubled his efforts, cracks appearing in Team Beta's barrier. Zeus.
Is this the best heaven can offer? Pathetic.
As the battle raged on, it became clear that even the combined might of the two angelic teams was not enough to subdue Zeus. The Greek god laughed maniacally, revealing in his display of power. Just as all seemed lost, a new voice rang out, calm and commanding. Ezekiel.
Enough.
Ezekiel stepped forward, his presence immediately calming the chaos around him. Even Zeus paused, sensing the immense power radiating from the newcomer. Ezekiel, addressing Zeus.
You have made your point, Zeus. Now, let us talk like the ancient beings we are.
To everyone's surprise, Zeus lowered his hands, the storm of power around him dissipating. Zeus, chuckling.
Ezekiel, it's been too long. Very well, let us talk.
As Ezekiel and Zeus withdrew to a private chamber, the battered angels of Team Omega and Team Beta gathered themselves, tending to their wounds and processing the events that had transpired. Lucifer, breathing heavily.
Well, that could have gone better.
Mikael, nodding grudgingly.
For once, we agree we underestimated Zeus, again.
Hasdiel, approaching the group.
Don't be too hard on yourselves. Zeus has millennia of experience. We all did our best.
Mikael, hopeful.
Maybe they're negotiating a peace treaty. Over a feast.
The others couldn't help but laugh, the tension of the battle finally breaking. As they waited for news, the two teams found themselves drawn into conversation, their earlier rivalry giving way to a newfound camaraderie born of shared battle. Guriel.
I must admit, your team fought well today.
Mikael, surprised by the compliment.
As did yours. Your barrier was impressive even if it didn't hold.
Amriel.
Perhaps there's something to be learned from combining our strengths.
Lucifer, grinning.
Are you proposing we join forces, my dear? I could get behind that idea.
Serviel rolling her eyes.
Don't push your luck, Lucifer.
As they talked, comparing notes on their techniques and sharing stories of their training, a new understanding began to form between Team Omega and Team Beta. They were no longer just rival teams, but fellow warriors who had faced a common foe. Hours passed before Ezekiel and Zeus emerged from their private discussion. The assembled angels waited with bated breath for the outcome. Ezekiel.
A compromise has been reached. Zeus will return to Olympus, but under certain restrictions. The details will be made clear in time.
Zeus, nodding, a hint of respect in his eyes.
It seems we all have much to learn about coexistence. Perhaps this misunderstanding can lead to a new era of cooperation between our realms.
As Zeus and Hera prepared to depart, the Greek god paused, turning to address Team Omega and Team Beta. Zeus.
You fought well, young ones. Perhaps there's hope for you yet.
With a flash of lightning, the Greek gods vanished, leaving behind a room full of stunned and exhausted angels. Antom, addressing the teams.
Team Omega, Team Beta, you have shown great courage and resourcefulness. Consider this mission a valuable lesson.
As the council chamber began to clear, Lucifer turned to his teammates, a wry smile on his face.
Well, my friends, it seems our journey is far from over. What say we grab that drink we've been promising ourselves?
Mikael, surprisingly agreeable.
For once, Lucy, I think you have the right idea.
Morishal, perking up.
And food.
Xaphan, laughing.
Yes, Morishal, and food.
As Team Omega made their way out of the chamber, they were joined by the members of Team Beta. Guriel.
Room for a few more at that drink?
Lucifer, grinning.
The more, the merrier. I have a feeling we'll all have plenty of stories to share.
The group made their way to the Celestial Tavern, a place where angels could relax and unwind after their divine duties. As they settled around a large table, drinks in hand, the conversation flowed freely. Hasdiel.
I still can't believe we went toe-to-toe with Zeus himself.
Xaphan.
And lived to tell the tale. That's got to count for something, right?
Mikael, thoughtfully.
It does make you wonder, though. If Zeus was this powerful, what other threats might be out there?
Lucifer.
Always the optimist, aren't you, Mickey? Let's focus on our victory for now.
Amriel.
Victory? We didn't exactly win, Lucifer.
Lucifer, winking.
We're alive, aren't we? In my book, that's a win.
As they recounted the events of the day, analyzing their strategies and laughing at their missteps, a bond began to form between the two teams. They were no longer just Team Omega and Team Beta, but a group of warriors who had faced an impossible challenge together. Serviel.
You know, when we first heard about Team Omega, we thought you were just a bunch of troublemakers.
Morishal threw a mouthful of celestial snacks.
And now?
Guriel, smiling.
Now? I think we might have judged you too harshly.
Mikael.
We may have misjudged you as well. Your team's coordination was impressive.
Lucifer.
Are we actually agreeing on something, Mikael? Mark this day in the celestial calendar.
As laughter filled the tavern, Hermes and Gabriel approached the table, their faces a mix of amusement and approval. Hermes.
Well, look at you all getting along. Who would have thought?
Gabriel.
I must say your performance today was unexpected, but in a good way.
Lucifer, raising his glass.
High praise indeed. Care to join us?
As Hermes and Gabriel pulled up chairs, the conversation turned to the future. What would this new arrangement with Zeus mean for the celestial realms? What other challenges lay ahead? Gabriel.
The compromise Ezekiel struck with Zeus is just the beginning. There will be many changes in the coming days.
Xaphan.
Changes? What kind of changes?
Hermes, mysteriously.
That remains to be seen. but I have a feeling Team Omega and Team Beta will play a significant role.
As the night wore on, the angels found themselves contemplating their place in the grand scheme of things. They had faced a god and survived, but at what cost? And what did the future hold for them? Mikael?
Whatever comes next, we'll face it together, as a team.
Lucifer, surprised.
Look at you, Mr. Team Spirit. I'm impressed.
Guriel?
Perhaps we could train together sometimes, share techniques.
Hasdiel?
And strategies. There's clearly much we could learn from each other.
As they made plans for joint training sessions and future collaborations, there was a sense of excitement in the air. They had started this journey as rivals, but were ending it as comrades. As the first light of the celestial dawn began to filter through the windows, the angels realized they had spent the entire night talking and planning. They rose, stretching their wings and preparing to face the new day. Lucifer.
Well, my friends, it's been an enlightening night. Shall we do this again sometime?
Mikael, surprisingly agreeable.
Preferably without the life-threatening battle beforehand.
Morishal, perking up.
But definitely with more of these celestial snacks.
Xaphan, laughing.
Yes, Morishal, and food.
As they left the tavern, there was a newfound spring in their step. They had faced an impossible challenge and come out stronger for it. Whatever the future held, they would face it together. Little did they know, the events of that day had set in motion a chain of events that would shake the very foundations of the celestial and mortal realms. The compromise between Ezekiel and Zeus was just the beginning. Ancient prophecies were stirring, long-forgotten powers were awakening, and the balance between good and evil was shifting in ways none of them could have anticipated. But those were concerns for another day. For now, they had earned their rest. As they went their separate ways, each to their own quarters, there was a sense of anticipation in the air. Their adventure was far from over. In fact, it had only just begun. Lucifer, to himself as he walked away.
Zeus, old boy, I have a feeling we haven't seen the last of you. And next time we'll be ready.
And with that, the angels of Team Omega and Team Beta prepared for whatever challenges the new day might bring. They had faced a god and lived to tell the tale. The celestial realms would never be the same again, and somewhere, in the depths of Olympus, Zeus sat upon his throne, a thoughtful expression on his face. The game had changed, and he was already planning his next move. This is Omega, the 4th volume of Legends of Destiny.